My little girl's in heat. Oh, and she's so anxious. Oh, honey. She's stressing out. But hi guys, it's Misty Eyez, and I'm your Tuesday tea girl for the Kiki Queens. Honey, I'm sorry. Alright, so, yeah. This is going to be, I'm going to try so hard not to cry. The first part of this video is going to be a moment with Misty, and then I'll go into the Kiki Queens topic of the week. Okay, so I actually have taken a break on my personal channel from recording. I'm kind of going through it emotionally and mentally and spiritually. I've had other priorities. I'm getting ready for Miss Florida, which is in April. That's a huge financial stress. It costs like $30,000 to do a pageant, right? Evening gown competition, not to mention evening gown for question and answer, onstage question and answer competition, swimsuit competition, backup dancers for talent. I'm a little bit stressed. As you probably know, I have decided to do facial feminization, but I haven't been really promoting or campaigning for that because right now I'm focusing on Miss Florida. I just turned 41 in January. And then one of my sisters, her birthday was February 6th, and she surprised me in Orlando with her 5 children. Now, I'll see if I can put some video or images in this here. Now, I don't believe in putting pictures of children on my public social media. So I will not be putting pictures of her children here, but I wonder if I could show you some pictures to kind of give you a little visual. It's so funny because I feel like I'm going to cry and I haven't even said anything sad. This is not a sad video. I just want to, I know I was so nervous and so scared and so traumatized, I guess, going into this. I just need to do a follow-up or a feedback. I feel like I need to touch something. I'm having anxiety. I don't know why. That are not caught up or not aware. Okay. In 1998, I got kicked out of college for being gay. I went to a Christian college called Oral Roberts University. I called my mother and I said, "Mom, can I come home?" And she said no. Basically, you can't come home until you come back to Jesus. Then I moved to Florida and I got into a domestic abuse relationship. He put me in the hospital and I called my mom again and said, "Can I come home?" And she said, basically, long story short, I got what I deserved. As a homosexual, I will never live a life of happiness. I am doomed for hell, blah, 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 blah. I basically deserved what I got, and I'm not allowed to come home until I come back to Jesus. Skip to 2005. I have come to terms with me being trans and started to slowly transition. Little by here, little by there, little by here. For example, did my lips, my cheeks, my hips, my ass, laser hair removal. I started hormones 5 years ago. Basically because I was afraid to like just go full force and be like, "Whoa, that woman looks like a man." I'm fidgeting and just got black eyeshadow on my forehead. Oh, you're gonna hear her in the background. She's, poor thing, she's totally going through heat right now. Little by little, here and there. And basically, I was afraid to go full force because I wasn't 100%, I didn't want to be a freak. I didn't want to be like, "Oh wow, look at that linebacker with tits." Although I knew in my heart and soul that I had to live my own authentic self. I had to be me, the real me. And basically, long story short, after my breast implant, I came out of the closet as trans to everyone in my family. Now, meanwhile, my mother, after 16 years of being disowned, called me and said, "Hey, will you come home for Christmas?" And I freaked out. I was like, "No, of course not. I'm not coming home for Christmas." And then I broke down and I said, "Yes, but I'm not coming for Christmas. I'm coming for my birthday." in January, which is still cold in Alaska, and I have no winter clothes. Now, skip to, this is 2 years ago, and I don't have any boy clothes. I stopped being a male in Florida like maybe 3 years ago. I don't think I was publicly trans on online or social media yet, but I was publicly trans in my life. So I went to Alaska 2 years ago by myself with no boy clothes. I didn't own boy clothes, but trying to pass off as male. Like, I was on hormones, but I tried to wear boyish, gender neutral things, and tried to appear manly. But it was funny, even 2 years ago, my mother would introduce me to people and be like, this is my son. And they'd look at her and look at me and then be like, all right, ma'am, come with me. Or she's so, like, what my mom told me about this one girl named Cynthia, and she's like, Cynthia, this is my son. And she's like, oh, she's so pretty. I love her eyebrows. And I'm like, oh, they're tattooed, whatever. Last year, I took my husband, and my husband obviously is a heterosexual, and he's never been with a special girl like me before, but, he called me she the entire trip from day 1 to day 2 in front of everyone, all my cousins, all my siblings, all my parents, everybody, strangers, relatives, and me wearing female-ish clothes, him calling me she. Newsflash, I mean, I didn't have to tell them I'm transitioning. My cousins figured it out. One of my cousins was like, well, I'm confused. Dakota, Misty, he, she, what do you want me to call you? And I said, I don't care what you call me. I'm here to love you and just be around you, and because I love you, and that's it. I'm not here to preach. I'm not here to give an agenda. I'm not here for that. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to call you Princess. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So she called me Princess the whole trip, which was totally fine with me. Skip to now. I got my breast implant probably 5 months ago, 6 months ago. And I did not tell my family I was going into surgery. I didn't tell a lot of people. I just kind of went in, and one of my best friends went with me to surgery, and he put it on social media. And my cousins and my aunt and my family was like, oh, you got breast implants. So meanwhile, my sister knows I have breast implants. Now, my sister called and surprised me with a trip to Florida. She and her husband and their 5 kids came to Orlando to visit Mickey Mouse. Not to visit me, but they want to see me while they're here. And I said, okay, great. But you need to have a conversation with your children, because last time they came down, she surprised me with 24-hour notice and said, hey, we're flying into Miami. Are you off tomorrow? Can you pick me up and take me around? I said, actually, yes, I'm off tomorrow. I picked her up at 8 o'clock in the morning at the airport. We hung out, went to the beach, did all that all day, took her to the hotel, and the next morning she took a bus to the cruise ship. So I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I spent the whole day with her, and the kids were like, Uncle Cody, why do you have long hair? Uncle Cody, why do you have long nails? Uncle Cody, why do you have... And I didn't know what to tell them. So now I'm like, okay, fine, I'm coming to Disney, but you just need to know that I've transitioned. I don't live as a man anymore, and I'm legally I'm transitioning my driver's license to female, and my passport to female, and my birth certificate to female, and... newsflash, these are not, it's not a padded bra. I don't just take it off. And so she started crying, and basically at first uninvited me to Orlando. And she was here for I think 10 days, and I was gonna come up for 3 of them. So basically she uninvited me and started crying, and she's like, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to expose my children to your lifestyle. Hey, I've been transitioning for 10, 11 years. Slowly. Your children have seen my long hair. Your children have seen my long nails. Your children have seen my hips. Your children have seen my ass. Your children have seen my chest. Well, before breast implants, I had little hormone titties. Your children have seen my lips and my cheeks and laser hair removal, but I've always been shaven when I saw your children. So the only thing new is this. So basically she came to the terms with, I want to see you, but my children will call you Uncle Cody. They will call you he, and I want you to come with no makeup on and boy clothes. Well, I don't own boy clothes, so that was a hurdle for me emotionally and spiritually and mentally. And then she told me that my husband was not Uncle John. He is Mr. John. Their children are very respectful. Her husband's a pastor's wife, and they're very respectful people, and he's Mr. John, not Uncle John. And I'm like, well, Dawn, we're not legally married, so he could be Mr. John. That's neither here nor there to me, whatever. And I hung up, and to be honest with you, the more I started to think about it, the more upset I got. I'm finally living my truth, my authentic life. I'm finally living my realness, my honesty. And she's asking me to lie to her children and lie to myself and pretend to be something I'm not. And I started to get really mad at first. And I wasn't going to go. And then I was like, you know what? I love my sister, and I want to see her, and I want to see her kids. And I'm like, to be honest with you, the makeup thing is not a big deal. I don't wear makeup in the daytime. I don't. It's just not something I do. Unless it's a special occasion or a special event or whatever. So I had no intention of wearing makeup to Orlando Walt Disney World in the daytime. Like, I want to be walking around the sun with foundation. Forget it. No. I have had laser hair removal. I don't need to cover a beard. So that's just not something I do. I have not, no. But I don't own boy clothes. So I wore my husband's tennis shoes and my husband's basketball shorts. And I found a masculine, because I have lots of Disney stuff, and they all have princess or, you know, Ariel or Elsa or whatever on them. So I got a boy Mickey Mouse tank top, muscly shirt that wasn't like most of my clothes are deep cut. And it's you'll see, and I'll show you pictures, but it's like up here. So with 3 hours of sleep, I worked Monday night at a club, got home about 2 o'clock in the morning, and then quickly got out of drag, went to bed, got up at 6 in the morning, and drove to Orlando to hang out all day with my sister and her kids. Dear Lord Heavenly Father, please let me get to sleep right now so that I can get 3 hours of sleep before driving to Orlando. I want to also pray for extra love and acceptance and peace and acceptance and tolerance as I get to hang out with my sister and her beautiful family tomorrow. Honey, it's a miracle. We are awake and on the road to Orlando. It's still dark out. It's so weird.
Alright, this is the time. $20 gets you started. And as always, at Rent-A-Wheel, there's never a credit check. If you have
Now, the funny thing is, the first 5 minutes, I could feel, it could be my own mind, my own insecurities, but I felt my sister and her husband looking at me like, okay, here we go. I guess we're doing this. And in my mind, I expected them to say, you know what, this is Uncle Cody. Say bye to Uncle Cody. He's got to go. Like, they wanted to shoot me out the door is what I felt. But children are great buffers. So they were hugging me and kissing me and telling me, oh my gosh, Uncle Cody, I love you. I miss you. And we're in Florida and it's not snowing. And because in Alaska, of course, there's snow everywhere. And they're like, oh my goodness, we're going to see Mickey Mouse. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I'm like, yeah, are you excited? We're going to Animal Kingdom today and blah, blah, blah. So, and I warned my sister. I said, Sissy, I just want you to know, no one calls me he, no one calls me sir, no one calls me anything. They have not done that for years. Years and years. Before I got breast implants, I still got ma'am all the time. So that's not going to stop because you want me to be Uncle Cody. I have transitioned. Sorry. And she's like, I don't care what other people call you. I care what my children call you. And I said, okay, fine. So going up on that trip, and to be honest with you, my sister's kids are so loving and accepting, and I knew they would be. I had no idea. I was so afraid what my sister would tell her kids, because love is an innate nature in all of us. As human beings, we love everybody. We're taught prejudice, we're taught discrimination, we're taught hatred. And I was just like, please don't tell your kids that Uncle Cody's a bad person. Please don't. And please don't teach your children that I'm weird or a freak. And she didn't. I don't think she did. I honestly have no idea what she told her children. I don't. Because her kids didn't say anything at all. They didn't even ask about my nails or hair. I don't know if they remembered or if they just were like, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're here to see Mickey Mouse, and they were distracted. But we spent the whole day together from like 10 o'clock in the morning. I think it took me until 10 to get there. From 10 o'clock in the morning until almost 10 o'clock at night. Oh my goodness. I got a little squashy guy. What? Woo! Here we go.
Look at them ears.
Wow. There's another greater poodle right in this bush. I can tell that's a female greater poodle, which is why.
Did you see a dog? It looks like. Oh, that was.
That looks scary.
And it was a great visit. I got to see my sister. There was lots of going and hustle and bustle, and we didn't get a chance to actually sit down and talk, like, about anything. But she got to meet John. John got to meet her kids. The funny thing is, all of her kids kept calling John Uncle Cody. I mean, all of her kids kept calling them Uncle John, Uncle John, Uncle John. And then finally the daughter was like, Uncle Cody, is that Uncle John? And I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom, because I'm not gonna lie. I am living my truth, and I'm not gonna bear false witness to your children. That's up to you to do. As parents, you could tell your kids that there's no Santa Claus, and then when they find out, they know you're lying. Well, in my mind, I felt like I was Santa Claus. Like they could tell their kids Uncle Cody's a man, and then eventually they're gonna find out that they're lying. Like, hello, one day they're gonna see me and realize, like my other sister, well, I have 4 sisters, but one of my other sisters, I saw her kid last year, and her 7-year-old. Now, meanwhile, my sister in Orlando, her kids are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Right now, for 3 months, they're all even ages. But when I was in Alaska last year, one of my other sister's oldest is 7. And he was so upset and bothered because he felt Uncle Cody was pretending to be a man. And he thought that I was lying to everybody and that I wasn't really a man. And I was playing a trick on his mom and dad. And he was really concerned that Uncle Cody's not really a man. I think he's a girl, blah, blah, blah. My sister, and she's my youngest sister, told her children recently that Uncle Cody is becoming a girl. And I'm like, what did they say? And they're like, oh, okay. They totally didn't even care. So, and I'm not surprised. Again, acceptance and love is something children are innate and born to do. So the trip went well. We spent the whole day together. The kids called my husband Uncle John. And again, I'm so used to calling John husband because we are life partners. We do live together. We are not legally married. He did propose today. He got on his hands and knees today and proposed the day before Valentine's Day. So I guess tomorrow's Valentine's Day, but he proposed yesterday for you. Totally caught me off guard because right now my finances are so tight. I don't know how he was able to even afford this. I don't know how he hid it from me either. All I knew is that he told me he got me something special that I'm really, really gonna like. And, yeah. And then he couldn't wait till Valentine's Day. So, my only regret with my sister, and the funny thing is, everyone called me ma'am. Everyone called me ma'am. Everyone, like, okay, I threw my back out really bad a couple weeks ago. So I took a wheelchair for Disney, which was fine. But I was like, okay, let Uncle Cody go first because they're going to separate us. And I didn't want the kids to get on a different line than me and would get lost. So let me go first and let them direct me on the handicap or wheelchair entrance. And then we'll go together. So everyone's like, okay, miss, come over here, ma'am. Okay, tell her to come over here. And I know my sister and her husband and all the kids heard that all day long. So, baby steps. At least my sister sees how the world sees me. And I think organically, one day, it'll come naturally to her too. I don't blame her for calling me he. I don't blame her for thinking of me as a he. I mean, I'm 41 and she's 5 years younger than me, 4 years younger than me. So that's a lot of years calling me a he. Even though I know in her subconscious mind, I've always been a she to her. I've always been a big sister, braiding her hair, playing with her dolls, doing her makeup, playing, I've always been way more of a girl than I ever was a boy. I mean, if we were children now, somebody would have pulled my mom off to the side and been like, your child is transgendered, and this is what's going on. I told my mom I was transgendered, but I didn't know what that meant. I didn't use those words, of course. I just told my mom I was a girl. So long story short, it was a beautiful day. It was just a day of being busy, having fun, getting on rides. She got along great with my husband. Her kids got along great with my husband. They all called him Uncle John, even though their mother corrected them and said, no, he's Mr. John. And I told my sister, I'm like, well, one day, I didn't think it was going to be sooner than later, but one day he will be Uncle John. But I understand baby steps. You need time to adjust to me. And I get it. I get it. So, but I think in the future, when Uncle Cody is not an uncle anymore, it'll be much more easy to explain to her fragile children that Aunt Dakota or Auntie Dakota or Auntie Cody or whatever, Aunt Misty or whatever my family chooses to call me, is married to a man. And men and women do get married, and I think it will be easier to explain than they expect, but I don't know. The one thing that I do know is that we are all born with sin. All of us. My sin might be being trans, but her sin might be something else. And it's okay to teach your children to love everybody, especially family. And so, long story short, normally when I don't want to say their names. Normally when my sister visits, she's had a couple surprise visits to Florida where she came to visit a cruise or came to visit Disney, but she wanted to see me on the trip as well. So normally on these trips or surprise trips, the kids end up going to bed and they stay up all night talking to me, having hearts to hearts and whatever. That didn't happen. I mean, okay, remember when I talked about in my moment with Misty where I was telling everybody about... Remember my moment with Misty when I went to Alaska the first time? And I said, actions speak louder than words. Meaning, my dad had a hard time looking at me or talking to me or saying anything to me. But he went out of his way to make sure I was comfortable. Like he put an air conditioner in my room. In the middle of winter in Alaska, I know, but I can't sleep when it's hot. And it was way too hot. Their house was heated. My sister and her husband went out of their way to make sure I felt loved. They did buy John and I's lunch and John and I's dinner. They went out of the way, which was completely unnecessary. They chose a nice, expensive restaurant in Animal Kingdom called Yak and Yeti. And my husband looked at me and goes, oh my goodness, the sweet and sour chicken's $20. I'm like, baby, we'll make it. We'll make it work somehow. And they were like, it's one check, and they got it. And they got us dinner too. I'm gonna be ordering me a pasta. No olives. Yes, jalapenos. And afterwards, it was like, okay, say bye to Uncle Cody. And the whole thing just caught me off guard. Like, I really thought I was going to go back and talk with them. But I do know it was the first day they were here. So they just landed. They had a 4-hour delay in their planes and their flights. And I think it might have slipped or whatever. But the long story short, I'm super glad I went. Everyone in Orlando called me ma'am and miss except for my family. But I do think that in time, they too will come around. I don't know. It was a good, positive trip. And I just wanted to share and tell everyone about what had happened. I may or may not put a couple videos, but I just said goodbye to my sister and her family. We had a great day today, and I don't want to say goodbye. It was a good visit. It was. I love seeing family, but I hate seeing them leave. And I love Ariel. Alright, time to go back home. I did go with no makeup on, and I did let them call me Uncle Cody, and I didn't correct anyone. And the same goes for her. When people called me ma'am or miss, she didn't correct anybody either. So, all in all, it was a very positive experience and a huge stepping stone in the right direction. I mean, next time her kids see me, I guess it's going to click for them. Like, oh, wow. That's why Uncle Cody has boobs. He's a girl. I don't know. Oh, by the way, another family incident, random. My mother called me yesterday and told me her and my dad are coming to visit Florida in May. Now, I've lived in Florida since the year 2000. My parents have never visited me. There's 7 of us kids. One sister lives in Colorado. One sister and one brother live in Indiana. And since I've lived here, my parents have come down to the lower 48 and visited all the siblings except for me twice. This is their 3rd trip, and I guess they're planning on visiting Florida. Part of me thinks that they're going to visit Walt Disney World or Miami, like my sister. They're not actually going to come to Fort Lauderdale, and they're not going to come to my house. Like, they're not going to see me. They're going to be like, let's do something in Florida and invite you. Which is totally fine with me. Baby steps. I'm just glad that they're coming to see me. But I'm also shocked. Oh, I don't know. Family's tough, and it's hard. But I wanted to get all that off my chest with my Misty Eyez look, because this week our topic is not a Misty look. Where did my paper go? This week Obune wants us to be he's. This week Obune wants us to be he's, and I was like, I cannot do this video with manliness. So I had to talk about you right now. But I will be right back with the next half of this video.